Hello guys, welcome to Odds on Premier League. Let's take a look at this third week of the Premier League with two really good games. We have Man City, Leicester City, and on Monday the last game of the week is Liverpool, Arsenal. So let's take a look at the matches, at the odds, and I will give you some tips and you will tell me if you agree with them or not. Now. The first game we have this third week of the Premier League leads us to the south of England, to the American Express Stadium, where we are gonna enjoy Brighton Man United. What a disaster first game for the Red Devils this season. I told you I didn't trust Solskjaer's men against Crystal Palace. And Zaha, for instance, was a former Red Devil player, was one of the players who scored in this opening game for the Red Devils. A defeat, and the only positive thing probably was that Van den Beek, their star signing this season, scored a goal. But of course, Solskjaer's men cannot be happy at all. And their first away game is against Brighton, a team who won, and they really won easily at Newcastle's stadium at St. James's Park, 0-3. It was a big surprise for me, actually, especially, beating that easily the North England team. So for this game, everything is quite open, I would say. And the odds give Man United, of course, the chances to win, and the odds are really low for the victory of Man United. We have 1.85 odds for Man United. I wouldn't trust it, especially after seeing the first game. We have Brighton 5.15, and the draw is 3.75. To be honest, I wouldn't trust anything about that, because the first two games of Brighton, they lost the first one, they won easily the second one, so I still want to see more. And Man United was a complete disaster in the first game. They should improve, of course, but I wouldn't trust them. I like here the over 2.5 goals is around 2.0 at this moment. On oddspedia.com we find 1.93, and seeing these first games for both sides in the Premier League, I would trust to see at least goals. And then on Saturday we have Crystal Palace Everton, very interesting game in Selhurst Park in the south of London, with two teams that have started the season really well. Actually, both won both games. Crystal Palace, I just spoke about it. They beat Man United, big surprise in the second week of this Premier League. And what to say about Everton? I'm telling you since the start of the season, since the start of this show, Odds on Premier League, that I really like Ancelotti. I like their project and James Rodriguez. And what a start is the Colombian doing. Also Carter Lewin, the striker, scoring in both games, now top scorer of the Premier League. So it's a very, very, very interesting game, this one. The odds, we have Palace 3.95, Everton 2.18, and the draw is 3.46. So the Toffees started the season really well. Also the Eagles, the team in South London, difficult to predict this. I wouldn't go for any of these two teams. We have two other options here that I like. We have over 2.5 goals. I especially like this one, 2.32, seeing how productive both teams have been in the boxes and in the attacking line, especially in their last game. And also something I really like, because I see Palace difficult to beat, and Everton were especially lucky against the Spurs at home. They were really good. And we have also double chance, 1x for Crystal Palace, 1.82. Also, that's interesting, but here I would go for over 2.5 goals, especially seeing that the odds are quite interesting, I would say, 2.32. On Saturday, also we have West Brom, Chelsea. Both lost in the second game of the Premier League. West Brom is gonna struggle a lot. Village team, I saw them really down in the table, and the start was not very positive. On the other hand, we have Chelsea. They signed a lot this summer, but they haven't signed yet a goalkeeper. And what happened with Calamity Kepa? 80 million they paid for the Spanish goalkeeper, and he was really, he was in a really controversial situation before this game. Lampard does not like him, we all knew it, and he gave away the second goal to Sadio Mane, sealing the defeat against Liverpool. I would say that Chelsea's performance was not bad at all. They had many chances, and probably if Alisson was Chelsea's goalkeeper and Kepa's was Liverpool goalkeeper, we are talking about a different result. But this never happened, and Chelsea lost the first important game of the season. Now they are gonna sign Rennes goalkeeper, and probably Lampard will be happy to put Kepa on the bench. So the odds here is 9.30 for West Brom, Chelsea 1.42, draw is 5.25. Of course, here I'll back Chelsea, but the odds are very low. There is no value on that. I really think that Chelsea is gonna win this game. We have over 2.5 goals, also kind of appealing, 1.70. If you don't want to risk that much, I would go for here, because also another interesting market would be Chelsea, and over 2.5 goals we have 1.95, and another one with higher odds, if you are looking for higher odds, is Chelsea and both teams to score. This is 2.9, and if you are looking again for high odds and something that is likely to happen, I really like this 2.9. Otherwise, you can stay with over 2.5 goals with 170, or even back Chelsea, who I think they really need to win this game against West Brom. And on Saturday, the last game we are gonna see is Burnley Southampton in Turf Moor. We have Burnley odds. They lost their first game, very disappointing the start of the season also for Southampton. They were thrashed by Tottenham, and the defense especially was a nightmare. You saw always Kane and Son alone. They didn't know how to put the defensive line with the offside, and they were destroyed by Kane and Son. So here the odds are 3.48 for Burnley, 3.40 for the draw, and Southampton is 2.38. Here, if I have to trust someone, to be honest, it would be Burnley. Playing in Turf Moor gives them an advantage, in my opinion. There is no way I'll back Southampton with these odds. However, it's a game that I would not touch. It's very difficult to predict. If you want to bet, I think the odds are better for Burnley's victory. But let's be cautious and see other games. Let's move on Sunday, because there are so many interesting games, even if you might not agree with me. And the first one I really want to see is the Sheffield United Leeds. Why? Because Bielsa's Leeds, what a start of the season, 4-3 in the first two games. We knew that we are gonna have fun with Bielsa's Leeds, but it's been even better than we expected. And they face Sheffield United, who lost their first two games And of course, last season was very good for them. They were close to European positions, and this one is gonna be completely different, or it seems to be completely different. And the first points they need to get is against Leeds. Again, really good start of the season for the newly promoted team, and we have very similar odds for the victory of Sheffield United 2.79 or Leeds 2.74. I wouldn't go here for either both teams, although I prefer Leeds, to be honest, but I wouldn't touch that. Seeing what is Leeds giving us, of course we have to see the goals market, and we find very good value, I would say. Over 2.5 goals, 2.10. It's true that Sheffield United is a defensive team, and in their games we don't see many goals, but Leeds is a completely show. So let's back here over 2.5 goals with 2.10. And remember to subscribe in our channel if you enjoy these videos, and click on the bell to get notifications whenever we publish new content. Also, thumbs up if you are enjoying the video. And remember, we have a podcast on Spotify. You can listen to all our videos in that platform. And checking also on Sunday's games, we have to move to Northeast London, to White Hart Lane, to see Tottenham Newcastle. I was skeptical about the start of the season with the Spurs. They lost against Everton at home. They thrashed Southampton with Heung-min Son, 4 goals, and Kane. And in between, they signed Gareth Bale and they signed Reguilon. Reguilon is really good. If you don't know him, pay a close eye to him. Real Madrid players, he showed some characters in the few games he played for Real Madrid under Solari. Especially last year was amazing under Lopetegui with Sevilla winning the Europa League. He is playing for the Spanish national team, and he is a very good player. However, Zidane does not trust him yet, so he has to find his spot at Spurs. I'm more skeptical about Gareth Bale because he's been 2 years doing absolutely nothing for Real Madrid, but we all know what he is capable to do. So let's trust the Welshman, although we have to wait a little bit to see him with the Sports. And Newcastle, they won the first game against West Ham, and they were terribly defeated by Brighton at St James's Park. So if we check the odds, we have Tottenham with 1.52, good odds I would say for backing the Spurs. They should win this one. And Newcastle 7.50. I want to put higher odds, so I will check Asian handicap for Tottenham -1, and we find here 1.82. So if they win for more than 1 goal, you are gonna get these odds. If only 1, you will get your money back. I really like this because I think Tottenham should win this game very comfortably. And moving to north of England, we have the most interesting game of this Sunday with Manchester City, Leicester City. Leicester City won their first 2 games, playing really good, scoring a lot of goals. I really like Brendan Rodgers' Foxes last year. Was a big surprise, staying in the top 4 until the very last game of the season, and I see them again this year fighting for Europe, probably for the Europa League. Manchester City's debut was also really fine against Wolverhampton, really tough game, but they won 1-3, and we saw again Kevin De Bruyne being playing really good. We also saw Ferran Torres debut. So good start for the citizens, although they conceded a lot of chances. Wolverhampton could have got a better result. So checking here the odds, of course Man City is really favorite, 1.33, the draw is 6.40, and Leicester is 10.75. Is really, I wouldn't bet on that for sure. checking the goals market, the one I like is over 3.5. We have 2.10 because over 2.5 goals is only 1.42. Having with us Man City, we always expect a lot of goals with Guardiola's teams. Leicester City is also scoring a lot of goals in this start of the season, so I really like this over 3.5. If you think it's gonna be a surprise, something that could happen, especially seeing the level of Leicester City, although I wouldn't go for it, but maybe you can put some money on that. Double chance, draw or Leicester City's 3.86 is very high, and I wouldn't be crazy if that happens. And the last game for Sunday brings us to East London for seeing the Hammers, West Ham, Wolverhampton. Terrible start of the season again for the Hammers. It's difficult to be now a fan of this team because they've been terrible the last part of last season and also the start of this season. I don't know if David Moyes is gonna stay really long on that bench, always a very hot bench. And Wolverhampton, I really like this project. Is Mendes project because most of the team is Portuguese. We know Nuno Espírito Santo and Jorge Mendes is signing all Portuguese players for this team. The last one is gonna be Semedo from Barcelona. It's always a very tough team to beat. Even Man City had trouble to get a victory on Monday. Odds: West Ham 3.50, draw 3.52, Wolverhampton 2.34. I would go here for under because Wolverhampton is a defensive team. West Ham improved against Arsenal, I have to say that. At home they were very bad against Newcastle, so I think it's gonna be a tight game with not many goals. We have under 2.5 at 1.74. And we have two games left for Monday. First one, Craven Cottage, Fulham, Aston Villa. Fulham, newly promoted team. I said it already, they are gonna suffer. Scott Parker is gonna have a lot of work to do if they want to stay in the top flight division. First two games, 2 defeats, really bad defending. At least they seem, especially with Mitrovic, it's easy for them to score, but their defense is really, really bad. In front of them, Aston Villa, 1 game, 1 victory. That's a good start for the Villains, and they should get something at Craven Cottage, I think. We have Fulham, odds are 3.05, the draw is 3.52, the victory of Aston Villa is paid, if we check Oddspedia.com, at 2.69. I said it already, if you want to bet here, Fulham, I think we are gonna see a lot of goals in their games, especially if they defend as bad as they are doing in the first 2 games. So why don't we trust again over 2.5 goals here? We've been right in all the games Fulham had played. So over 2.5 goals, we find 2.19 odds, quite fair, I could say. So let's go for it. And the best game for the very last moment. We go to Anfield and we see Liverpool Arsenal. Liverpool, good start of the season. They won at home against Leeds and they beat Chelsea, very tough game. Sadio Mane was here the star and even Alisson. Very good victory and important one for the Reds. And Arsenal, they won the Community Shield and they won the first 2 games. The last one was tricky one against West Ham. They suffered a lot, but Ceballos shined in the last minutes and the Spaniard gave an assist to make the victory. Remember, these 2 teams already played this season in the Community Shield and Arsenal won in the penalty shootouts. So it could be the vendetta for Liverpool, who I said already they were my favorite team to win the Premier League, but now with Thiago Alcantara it's gonna be even better. The Spanish player played in the second half at Stamford Bridge and made an amazing debut. a lot of passes. He broke even a Premier League record with passes, even accurate, which is more important. And I think this is the right player Klopp needed in the midfield. So what a signing! I think it's gonna be maybe the difference for the Reds to stay up. So I would trust Liverpool against any team, to be honest, at this moment. And so the bookies, if we check the odds for this game, Liverpool 1.53, the draw is 5.10, and Arsenal's victory 6.55. Odds for Liverpool are decent, but Arsenal, I said it since the beginning also, I really like Arteta's project. I think they are doing pretty good, and especially they are becoming reliable, something very difficult for the Gunners. So that leads me to check another market, which is the under 2.5 goals. Yeah, we have Salah, we have Aubameyang, we have Lacazette, we have Sadio Mane, Firmino, a lot of stars, so we should expect a lot of goals. But maybe not. And if we check under 2.5 goals, we have 2.59 odds. So that would be my bet for this amazing clash that I'm not gonna miss. We have a lot of games to watch, very interesting games, especially pay a close eye to Man City, Leicester City, and of course this Liverpool Arsenal. Let me know in the comment section if you agree with me or if you have any hint, any tip you want to give us. We will be back next week with more action in Awesome Premier League.